Second half from Patterson Stadium. Sydney with a 15-point lead. Natanui wins the first tap. Gaff was onto it, but just overran it. And the Swans, again, with their expertise in tight. O'Keefe into the 50. Big wrestle between Reid and McKenzie. Goods falls for McKenzie. Brown heard the call from Kerr. They can swing into action.
This is where you see the Eagles just generally go forward and create a scoring opportunity. They've got it out, they've got it forward. And this is the sort of creativity that they'll be looking for in bucket loads in this second half.
And Newman's shown a bit today. Speaking of creativity, here's Jack up to the wing. McGlynn thought he had to release it quicker.
That's a real problem.
Real factor for Schofield and Reid as it wanders all the way through to Pike. There's still some things he can't quite do, but he's following up well. Although Schofield escapes. Here's the dash that John Worsfold was looking for. Gone. And that might well be 50. It is against Darren Glass. What did we think? Was it holding the ball or incorrect disposal?
Well, I didn't hear the whistle, so I was looking downfield to where Glass.
Well, it was just knocked out in the tackle for mine, so I'm not surprised Darren Glass was a little bit confused as to which way it was going.
So Everett was the sub before the game started, so Lewis Roberts-Thompson has been subbed off, which is bad news for him, obviously, but great news for Everett, who's kicked important goals on this ground before. And he's done it against the Eagles before with late goals last year in that round 3 clash.
Well, he takes them on. He's clearly had prior opportunity. Let's just see what happens here. I mean, he is tackled and the ball gets knocked out in the tackle. Now, in previous eras, that is play on. But in this era, it is holding the ball.
And compounded by the 50, obviously.
Yeah.
So if you've just joined us, this is why Andreas Everett is out on the ground. That was the incident just before half-time. Lewis Roberts-Thompson has caught more than his share of head knocks over the years. Natanui in the middle against Mumford, and again it's going Sydney's way. O'Keefe inserts them. Hearn able to spin off and take the mark. Schofield was giving him something through the middle, but he decides on the more conservative route out to Kerr. And that's a wonderful grab under the circumstances from Daniel Kerr. Couple of sharp leads. Settles on Cox. Well done back there from Matner and Grundy, but Shepherd advancing. Darling might let it go. It's had its own mind, but didn't quite carry the journey. O'Keefe, he's close to being caught. Certainly was cornered. Johnson, McVeigh, crowd not happy. Emotions high here at Patterson Stadium. Selwood goes to rein the footy back in. Oh, they fight amongst themselves.
I think Goods created the fight. Yeah, he pushed them one into the other.
And that's out of bounds.
But a couple of positive signs for the Eagles after the Swans got that first goal. Hearn gets a couple of kicks across the half-back line, and Prittis getting involved in this early part of the third.
The rucks, the wrestle. Prittis, as you said, big mop of hair on top of the footy, and we'll have a ball up.
It's man-on-man in defence at the moment. No spares for either side.
Matner's still down there, isn't he? But Shepherd paying him some respect, about 10 metres off the ball. So if it gets in there, we'll see what happens. Here's a one-on-one battle. Brennan overran it. Shaw, McGinnity, no way out for Shaw again. The crowd baying for blood. Again, they don't get their way. Jack into the middle. Here's Mike Pike again. We love it. He takes the mark.
McGlynn doing the charge.
Oh, this is a well-trodden path, isn't it, for the Swans? An open forward line. McGlynn can give to Everett or go on his own. It's Everett for 2 in a couple. And he couldn't quite get it sorted. It's a behind.
Can't come to grips with that kick, I've got to say, Jono, as we take a look down in the Sydney Swans rooms with Lewis Roberts-Thompson heading off to the hospital for x-rays, you would assume. Just to make sure that there's no little cracks there and to be observed over the next few hours. But that was a genuine opportunity lost there for the Sydney Swans. Hook around the corner. instead of going straight to Adam Goods with a drop punt.
That's 50 from the kick in here.
Jacko, I think the other thing John Worsfold will be really concerned about is that they're not getting numbers down into that forward line. When they get it in deep, the Eagles, they're not locking it in. The Swans are working overtime, getting extra numbers back and getting it out.
Hit the nail on the head. They're just outnumbering the Eagles, and they're just easy pickings for the defenders that come over. It's usually 3-on-1.
So Mumford and Cox engage again. Rosa was the third up. Kennedy and Selwood. Kennedy can't believe it. He better give it back to him quickly. Selwood. Ananui offers something, but not enough. Oh, scrubs that kick. Drops short. Anything could happen. Brennan, who's gaining confidence at the level as a footballer. Into the 50 it goes. Smith with the tackle. Here's McGinnity. Rosa, now was that too high? I think it was a good call by the umpire, but...
Well, put your whistle in your mouth and let's get it moving. But that's called learning on the job. You saw Nick Smith in the first quarter, second quarter, I should say, give a go away an opportunity for a shot at goal with a poor tackle. That time he was a little bit more constrained.
O'Keefe. Now, he's caught in the crush. No, says the umpire. So the crowd not having the influence they would like down there at that end of the ground with the umpire. Margin is at 22 at the moment. A goal here. That could be in the back. No. And again, the crowd don't have their way.
Yeah, lucky Daniel Kerr on that occasion. Prentice was fantastic in that stoppage. Went back to block for Daniel Kerr. That's how he got the space to take the ball clean.
It wasn't in the back, but it may have been too high, judging by that replay. O'Keefe and Jack and Kerr and Prentice. Now, Prentice, has he done enough?
Where do you want me, Stevo?
Guys are trapped it.
Stevo, where do you want me?
Stay there. No, just both go to the footy. Both go to the footy. Move the footy.
Yes.
They're swarming around here. The desperation for the footy is immense. So close to West Coast goal. Cox and Prentice better at most at doing that. I'm not sure he wanted it back though. Jack and O'Keefe, and the Swans are out, but for how long?
Not very.
Every player is either equal or forward of the footy at the moment. So there's no space to work in.
But this is more like the West Coast Eagles press that we've seen them win 18 times in a row here.
Nick Natanui is ready to rise. He didn't have to in the end. He fooled them.
He did. It looked like we were going to see a huge leap from Nick Natanui with the long ball coming in from Rosa. But in the end, he picked up the flight of the ball really well. Did he push his direct opponent out here? We'll see. He just puts his body in the way.
I think it was a good call. I think it was Grundy who just got under the ball. Let's have another look from the side. Oh, there's a little nudge out.
Yeah, but not enough there. That's a good goal by Natanui.
We'll keep our fingers crossed for Lewis Roberts-Thompson. So he heads to the hospital. Back to 16. Selwood, and the Eagles are playing a little better in this third term. The scramble for the footy, McVeigh marked it. Continues his excellent form. He's already had 4 touches in this quarter, and O'Keefe, so he and O'Keefe and Jack have been the ones for the Swans so far on this third term. And McGlynn. Delicate operation, that pass. Kerr was ready for it. Every step of the way with McVeigh, and then no, it doesn't go out of bounds. Now it does.
Well, he's trying to do it all at the moment. Daniel Kerr for the West Coast Eagles, working forward of the ball, going back defensively.
So now the footy at Sydney's end. Pike.
Play on.
Geez, O'Keefe's been done a mountain of work today.
Here's McVeigh. Fickleness of the bounce. Cox had to take on Bolton, had no choice. The heat being transferred from player to player here. The umpire is going to be involved more often than not.
Well, this quarter is producing shades of 2005, 2006.
Yeah, it's more like what Roosie wants to see in his lounge room.
In fact, the similarities between these two sides, 2005 and 2012 version of the Swans, quite extraordinarily the same.
Oh, Bird! That is an astonishing kick. Out of all the maze and the mess, he got it onto the boot and put it through.
Fantastic finish. I'm not sure what Shannon Hearn is trying to achieve here, Jared. He had the opportunity just to take the ball over the boundary line.
Yeah, well, I think he tried to, he just misjudged it. I think he thought he was over the line, but that's just a great goal from Craig Bird, and that rubs salt into the wound for Shannon Hearn, because it's been Bird that's locked down on him for so long today, and he gets a goal. And the similarities I talk about with 2005, even in round 15-16 way back then, there weren't too many people giving the Swans a chance to win the flag, and even today, I think most people have 3 or 4 other sides in front of them, and yet they're in a pretty comfortable position here.
Pritis. Smith just nudged Newman out of it, didn't mark it, but it didn't matter, and they can turn defence quickly into attack. Jenner and Selwood continue their struggle.
Look out.
He almost got it cleared in there, but he fell into the back of Kerr. Should have been a free kick from here anyway. Marston to half forward. The Eagles will get their opportunity. McGinnity back to Pritis. Cox. He's working to the front. Grundy brings it to their feet. Not for Newman, but maybe Brennan. Maybe Brennan. It's a free kick to Sydney.
To Sydney.
You're free.
Against Patrick McGinnity, just coming in off the line. He's got him head high, I think.
Yeah, just came into block, and I think just copped him. It was McGinnity or Newman that came through and put the bump on, tried to put the block on for his teammate McGinnity there.
Back on.
Trying to block for Newman.
See some really heavy one-on-ones going on in the defence now for the West Coast Eagles. There's no spare, it's just one-on-one, and they're backing each and every one of their players to get back on top of their men. Some positive signs for the Eagles as well, Jono. They just can't find that easy way forward at the moment.
Well, the Swans are getting plenty of numbers back into defence, trying to outnumber the Eagles in that area and then get that slingshot going their way.
Play on.
Pritis. We've talked a lot, I guess, in the lead-up to this game about the players that are missing from that forward line. Lynch, whose role is important, isn't it, in getting it into the 50 and popping up for a goal or two, and Josh Hill, another one that's not there, as well as the long-termers like Kennedy and McCrae and Nikoski, and Hams was a late withdrawal.
Play on.
But I reckon you go to Shuey and you go to Waters as the two that they're missing the most just at the moment.
No doubt, Shuey, really
Out the middle.
important midfield member is Reid. Kicks it in quickly, tough for Mumford. Schofield deep and can't start his move. And you've talked already about the absence of Beau Waters, and him and Hearn, I think, are equal for intercept marks and for launches from the back line for the Eagles for the year. And one without the other, just not quite as potent. And O'Keefe got a quick tour here at Patterson Stadium, and again got some latitude from the umpire. Shepherd. Johnson, springboard. Low, wobbly one. Hearn read it best. Bolton latched onto him quickly and then dives in on top of it.
Well, that's where the kick was disappointing. Hearn was the one West Coast Eagles amongst 5 Sydney Swans players. The ball goes straight to him.
Right back, guys. Straight
From
back.
Johnson, who had an opportunity to hit up his teammate.
Straight back.
Umpires haven't been paying that dive on the ball anywhere near as much. We've seen quite a bit of that today.
Wrapped up. Good. Let it go. Let it go. Look at the footy. Look at the footy.
Still can't break away, though, the Sydney Swans. The Eagles only have to have 5 good minutes and they can get themselves back in front.
Play on.
Hanbury.
You now.
Butler. Darting, weaving, getting out, getting clear, getting the system going.
But once again, the Swans are able to just block them up. I mean, this is not the normal stuff we see from the Eagles, we see them get that and they go charging.
And Newman again, good leap, earned himself a free. And the point you're making about not putting this game beyond the reach of the Eagles, I caught a lot of those games in the mid-2000s. I remember our commentators making the same point time and time again, and it proved true. The team's coming from a long way back. Jeddah taking it over.
Did you see Selwood there? That's why he's such the perfect opponent for Jeddah, because he likes to put body contact on, take the run away from the classy, speedy players in the competition, so he puts himself in a positive position to win the ball himself.
Well, Good's onto the ground. Prittis off the ground. See what the domino effect is.
Kennedy, Bolton, goal square, Everett, and no chances taken by McKenzie.
Craig, stay there. Thanks. Stay there. Just wait for the play on call. Play on!
And drives for Cox.
Play on.
Grundy, the nuisance value. Cox did well to get the handball away, but unfortunately for him, it was straight to Kieran Jack. Eagles the numerical advantage back there. McKenzie's able to work that. I was just about to say safely enough, but that is not safe at all.
Craig's kick.
So it's Bird.
Chris, back here.
Yeah, I'm watching.
That's your line.
Hayden
Wait for the call.
Ballantyne
Wait for the call.
spot here.
Mine.
Goes for a pass and Jeddah get away from most.
Such goal kicking,
Just
good
here.
goal kicking form. You expect him to give this one a real
That's
chance.
your line. Thanks, Adam.
Already with a couple to his name. Jeddah. It's only one game this year that he hasn't kicked a goal in.
Another 2 metres.
And confidence is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And so is the skill of Lewis Jeddah.
Well, you'd like to be able to move that ball as far as he did there with the cricket ball. You'd be playing for Australia right now. That certainly had a nice little bit of away swing on it, Jono.
Certainly be in the one-day team at the moment.
Yes, good point. In fact, you put your hand up, Jono. Marto, you might be a chance to roll your arm over, but this one starts outside the right-hand goalpost and it works its way right back in. You can see he doesn't quite hit it perfectly.
That's 8 disposals for Jeddah. Going at 80%, so not getting a lot of the ball, but 3 goals is very effective.
Oh, he's one of the most damaging players in the competition. As we said earlier, it's not just about his blistering pace. His skill level of disposal by foot is wonderful to see. Natanui hunting hard. The Eagles know they have to do that. They've got to get down and dirty, win the footy, get it forward. Selwood for Shepherd. Malcheski, most bases are covered for the Swans. This has been a very accomplished performance by Sydney thus far.
But a nice flying tackle there by Chris Marston, who's done a pretty good job on Reece Shaw, kept him just to 11 possessions. He's been involved in a couple of goal creations as well.
Kerr.
This bloke is absolutely killing him. He's had 6 clearances from stoppages, which is 3 more than any other player on the ground.
O'Keefe is up to 21 disposals for the day.
And 10 this quarter.
10 for the term. The good thing is he's just still a very important member of their midfield, isn't he? But they don't have to rely on him really to kick goals as much as they used to. Rosa into the 50.
Well, he plays a much different role now. He used to be that high half forward. Now he's just a grunt player through the middle. Could well be playing for Hawthorn had things gone differently. But fortunately for the Swans, and hopefully for him, they fell back in love with each other.
Back to Selwood. Now Natanui's deep, and I think probably their biggest chance to take some marks and break this open. Although Darling's had a strong lead here.
Oh, good Shepherd.
Yeah, he was well protected. I'm not sure about the kick out of defence though. Butler, Darling trying to squirm his way clear. High ball, Selwood against 3 Swans. He was the meat in the middle.
They are defending as a gang here. This is not just gang tackling, it's gang defence.
And then when they go,
oh, that'll be 50 now.
Well, it started with a Shepherd at the other end of the ground. Reece Shaw put his body on the line in front of Nick Natanui, who was about to impale Grundy. That's just a great Shepherd from Shaw.
And it ended with a Shepherd kicking the ball away and costing 50 metres.
Matt.
So
Time
Hanbury,
back on. Play on.
he's off.
Yours.
And so are the Swans deep. Oh, Reed would normally have taken that. Schofield has a quick glance. Mike Pike was there. Mike couldn't quite take it. Gaff.
Good pace.
And didn't show all that much respect to McVeigh, but he kept on going. McVeigh maybe shoved him in the back.
Oh, handball.
Gaff, he keeps going, and he might have to keep on going. That one shut down by Johnson.
Well, he's recruited as an elite runner and somebody who's pretty effective by foot, and you just saw exactly those attributes playing out. Now, he's absolutely knackered, to use the footy vernacular, but he'll recover really quickly, so you'll get another effort out of him.
There's O'Keefe again. Territory to half forward. Is that one of the terms you learn in physiotherapy degree, Jared, was it?
Anatomy.
Marston.
Once again, the Swans holding them up from that drive off the half-back line.
He's just giving away the free there, Johnson. Been a good little battle with Brennan, and can't get away from there. And the protests come loud and strong from the Eagles crowd. And this has just given the Swans a chance to all drift back, and that's exactly what they're doing. Some time wasted for the Eagles. Brennan. It's been a good story in patience for West Coast. Cox. Nadanui's on the bench, so it's darling or bust really for the Eagles. Reed to Shaw, hunted down by Newman. Bird, that one's almost out in the floor. McKenzie. Oh, gee, Johnson's clearly given away the free. Taking the opportunity with the spoil to just take a bit more.
Brady Burnett.
You're smiling, Jono, but you wouldn't have been if you're under that.
I think it was about 95% body and 5% ball.
Hearn. Quickly cornered by McGlynn. That was about the best he could manage. Rosa clamped by Bolton. And they're appealing, and they might not get their way.
Ball's pinned in. Cut it out. Easy, easy. Let it go. Thanks, Jude. Thanks, mate.
Well, we're not often do we see one-on-one all over the ground. Usually there's a free man, but both sides now electing to play just one-on-one across the ground.
O'Keefe heaves it into the 50 again. Adam Goods. He was looking for a free. He was spun around. The mark out of all that. It's a Glass.
Stay there. Move it on. Play
Free
on.
kicks for a quarter. 5 to Sydney, 3 to the Eagles. Glass to the wingman Chesky to try and impact Cox. I'm not sure that was a mark. Might have been a free, but anyway, the umpire rolls with it now. So must we. Rosa to half forward to Selwood. Nadanui's could be a factor here. Goes short instead. Hard lead from Darling. Matner handed off to Richards. Not sure he wanted it. O'Keefe. Now they have the numbers at the contest. If it hits the ground, they're in trouble, the Swans, because the Eagles are there. Hearn right up to Darling. It might have been his way off the ground, but instead he's passed it, hoping for Swift. McGinnity lost his way a little bit. Matner legged, advantage, paid and taken. Everett has a glance forward. There's nothing for him.
Goods has got to go here.
Well, he's angled the kick very smartly to Hanbury. And now to Jeddah, who's away. Come and catch me if you can. If you can't, I'll kick it 80.
He should have kept running, then take another bounce, allowed Brown to come to him even over the top
To Goods.
The Eagles have made a substitution. Kobe Stevens into the game. Jack Darling surprisingly out, boys.
Wow.
Well, he's had just 5 kicks, but he's kicked a couple of goals. You're sure he's not injured, Jacko?
Well, I just noticed in that second quarter, a couple of contests that he went to just didn't look free at launching himself. So maybe there is something there, but I am surprised that he's out of the game.
Advantage, West Coast.
It does seem a puzzling one. Selwood under hot pursuit. Here's Natanui. Can he get it together? Of course he can. Can he kick the goal? Yes, he can. Oh, no, he can't. Not yet anyway. It stays in. Natanui, he made the odds awfully difficult. Newman, quick kick. Good kick, but not a goal.
Oh, the bounce of the ball.
Oh. And, well, John Horsfall's been there many times. The bounce of that fickle ball.
Right out behind.
Here's Mike Pike.
Hey, Reece. Whistling up. That's...
The umpire having a bit of trouble with the P and the whistle there. Bit of a malfunction. Kieran Jack got all the answers, the Swans at the moment. Hanbury, where's Jetta? You know where he is. He's belting towards goal. Jack,
Good short.
Space.
could have set it up. Jetta's there again. Now he knows where Goods is, but the ball over and out.
Well, McKenzie put the head down then, dug deep, and that's what restricted Kieran Jack kicking an easy ball over to Jetta.
Jetta saying should have released it a bit earlier. He's not out of it yet, though. Goods makes a nice little run at the footy. He too a slave to the bounce, and it goes over and out.
I think he's entitled to be a little bit frustrated at him, Goods. That was 2 opportunities. Maybe a little bit of the goalpost might have just got in the way of good decisions, and there you can see there's a problem with Jack Darlings with some ice on the hammy.
They almost might become a bit Jetta conscious, the Swans.
Well, I think even Kieran Jack there, he could have made a smarter decision and just gone short to Goods.
Richards into the pocket. Prittis. The Eagles needing to withstand this desperately with 4 to go. Oh, he's run on mighty long way, Schofield. Selwood. Bullergate stuff again. Johnson. They are so clever in tight, the Swans. That is their domain. That is their way. Kennedy, and they wind up again. They're actually in no hurry now. They lead by 29 points. McVeigh on the edge. Good spinning deep. He's got to get. Oh, he's not going to get to this contest, or he still might if Reid doesn't mark it. Reid almost did. It's a throw.
McKenzie. Right, play on.
Good give to Kerr. Selwood. And they're calling on all their reserves
Well,
now,
they
the
need to
Eagles.
score. The Eagles need to score in the next 3 minutes of play.
Play on.
Oh. Sure where that kick was meant to go, because it was all Sydney on the wing. McVeigh again slick by hands. Matner up towards the 50. Reid flirted with keeping it alive, but it's over and out.
Well, Dean Cox off the ground at the present time. He'll be just getting his final rest before the onslaught in that final term. Maybe he's the man that can do it 2 weeks in a row for the Eagles and give them that target forward.
Hanbury, Bolton, McKenzie.
They've got to get it forward, and that's the issue. The Swans' defence is fanatical. Be it forward or back.
McLean did enough to make sure that the ball stayed alive. Was that deliberate on Brown? No.
Haven't paid it all day.
No, it'd be a nasty time to start paying it. A metre out from goal, but gee, it was a fine line. And the Eagles are on the brink here, because the Swans are so close. 29 points the margin, so close to putting in a real advantage that might be impossible to reel in, especially without Darling. Jetta, he just puts the head down, tries to burn them off, claiming a free, goes after them again. Gaff, bit of a wandering handball. O'Keefe, back to Jetta again. Well done, Selwood, the diligent thing he did, and it's the smother. It's out of bounds.
Player in, number 14, player out, number 27, in 14, out, 27.
Well, right now the Eagles have pushed their numbers to win the contest. The Swans have got 2 free players, so they've got to be smart with the ball use if they do get it win.
Josh Kennedy, high tackle.
The Swans, you get the sense they just smell that another goal here, Jono, will just about do it. Just will not let the ball out.
No, and you're right, they're working. See a short, kick inside 50 here, good hit up to McVeigh. But they've just worked their numbers. All their numbers get back into defence, and now they're all forward of centre as well. So they just work back and forward as one big group. And they're at elite standard with their midfield run.
So Jared McVeigh, late in a quarter, a third quarter. It'll take a mighty effort from here, all of 50 metres. And in trying to gain that ground. He's missed to the right.
Where the ball got us.
30 points.
But you watch while McVeigh's having that shot at goal, all the defenders for the Swans are talking to each other, getting their setups right for the kick in to possibly come back. That's why they're so professional as a unit.
Minute 16 and counting.
Play on! Play on! Runners, just watch out here. Don't get in the way.
Selwood to Glass.
Move it on.
He looks up and just sees a maze. He has to kick it. Johnson's going to come up and over the top of Stevens, the sub. With a pinball action. Trying to craft a kick Butler. And that's interference by Richards on Brennan. And we've got 40 seconds now.
But it's this next kick that's important, or where the Eagles have been breaking down.
Nananui is deep. Shepherd might set it up for him. He's got a one-on-one at the moment, Nananui. His run was blocked though, and the kick wasn't well placed. And that was just too easy for the Sydney defence. It was such a great combine, standing start, quick kick from McVeigh. Out to Everett.
You said Nat knew he had the one-on-one. He did, but he went back too far. Shepherd's not going to be able to kick the ball 70 metres to get it to the goal square. Position yourself up a little bit so you can get 50 metres away from it to have a jump at it.
And that's where he's just got to learn to work to the front of the contest. He's just trying to fly from deep, and the Swans are just pushing numbers back 2 to 3, and it's just hard work for him.
But he's not a lead-up player, and the Swans right now know that he's not a lead-up player. And John Moore's fault, I think, will need to find himself that leading player. I suspect it's going to be Dean Cox. Somebody has to charge out of the square, but the Sydney Swans right now doing it particularly well. Their defensive work and their win at the clearances and the contested ball has set a new high for them.
Well, they've gone with Schofield back into the forward line. I'd like to see Shannon Hearn, who's been tagged out of the game across half-back. He's one player who can go forward for the Eagles, and if Gow needs to get the ball 60 metres out, it's going to be a set shot for goal for the West Coast Eagles. Does link up forward of centre as well. Bird's done a great job. Bird's not going to be comfortable to go and play as a defender like that. So that's one move that may unfold as this quarter does as well.
Nananui for Pritis. Stevens, big opportunity for him in this last term.
It's the first 10 minutes for the West Coast Eagles here. They need to get themselves going, which will then in turn get the crowd going again. And when the crowd's up and going here at Patterson Stadium, West Coast rise.
Well, we've seen it over the years, haven't we? With West Coast coming from behind in last quarters. It'll be a Herculean effort if they can do it here.
Yeah, but Matty's got the ball.
Well, they've got Cox as their target. The question is, can their midfield win any of these battles and get some clear air? It's almost been impossible against the swarm of the Swans.
Kennedy. Tough for Matt. A hurried kick from O'Keefe. Bird again. Pike's coming out of the square. Reed's doubling back there. He's got more time now. Malcheski hasn't had a big influence today. He was wonderful last week. Just the 8 disposals. Kieran Jack.
Stay there.
25.
McVeigh has just dropped into the space.
And good closing speed from Brennan. He's been a bit of a shining light for them today. Comes away to McGinnity.
More like it by the Eagles. A bit of rebound off that half-back, but the Swans get back in numbers and they're pushing them wide again.
Rose has got deep to give Gaff something, but he goes beyond that. And little Newman, who can take a mark, which is handy for a player his size. Rosa to the square. Marston, show of strength with Shaw. And Marston did it. Did what he had to do. Kicks the goal. There's hope for West Coast.
Well, what went to ground at the other end of the ground when McVeigh couldn't quite grab the ball has turned in after a succession of smart kicks to that little strength battle, and it was a battle won by Chris Marston, who's taken the vote so far today.
And you have a look at that. That's what every player tries to do. He gets under the armpit of Shaw. You get under the armpit of your opponent, you've got absolutely no balance whatsoever.
Bit of armpit work.
2 goals for Chris Marston. And the Eagles back within 4. 13-8, 9-8. That could ignite the crowd. Matanui.
The armpit's the first thing you get taught as a forward. Jared?
Get under the armpit.
Get under the armpit.
All of a sudden the Eagles get a break from the guts.
To Stevens and Richards.
We haven't seen Nui get his own clearance from the centre, which is limiting his effect. And the Eagles.
Just 6 disposals for Nick Natanui, and he was coming from about 5 deep that time. Melcheski. Just the prescription Reed needed, but he couldn't take the mark. Bird instantly to McGlynn, who found a way through. Jack, we've seen this time and time again. He is their leading inside 50 player. Pike found the job too difficult that time. Swift. They're outnumbered here, the Eagles, though. Johnson, he can cover some ground, can't he?
Yeah, he's a very, very dangerous halfback now. Good pace, good height, hard to match up on, and can cover a lot of types of player.
Smith into Reed and Goods. Found its way through to Everett, and Pike again involved. Adam Goods had just enough time to sort it out in his head. Couldn't quite get the logistics right, and so Gaff has to put the head down and start charging away. Selwood needed time, was given that luxury. Finds Butler.
Natui's out.
Decides to go for McGinnity, though. Prudis, inch by inch. Hearn to Marston, roaming at half forward. Then he goes to Schofield and Richards. Certainly not to the advantage of his teammate that time. Skimming ball on the way out. McVeigh. Took a little longer than he was hoping, that whole exercise. Nick Smith. Now Pike. I've loved his work today. 9 disposals. Hanbury, Shaw. Snaps into action, gets some protection from Pike. Aggressive handball, didn't help Matner's cause too much.
Want to be careful they don't shut up the shot too early, and there's a little bit of Q in the rack syndrome going on here.
There is, the old Q in the rack syndrome, Jared, you're onto it. Swift out for Stevens, and now Prentice. Roll the dice, Richards, Schofield, the experience in that position telling there for Richards, who decides to go with it and keep it moving. And they're away again to Bolton, marks the Grundy kick. 5 minutes gone only in this last quarter. Jude Bolton up to the wing. You think one more goal for West Coast and the crowd really will ignite. Reed. Glynn steams off. Where's Jeddah?
Adam Goods is pointing long to Mike Pike.
Oh, Brown had to go.
It was mummified.
It was Mumford down there, Brennan.
So that's the effect of Adam Goods. Brown should have had the confidence to go back and take a mark with the flight of the ball, and then it landed on top of his head.
Stevens gets it through the maze to Shepherd.
The numbers.
Yeah, they are swarming, and O'Keefe, an experienced man.
He bounced back.
It was sharp, wasn't it? It's beyond 4 goals. Certainly not beyond the realms, with plenty of time in this last quarter. Glass in for Selwood. It's one-on-one everywhere ahead of the footy. So they can win some 50-50s, the Eagles. They'll generate some opportunities.
I need to get some good clear ball out of some stoppages. There's going to be plenty of stoppages in this last quarter. Eagles need to take control.
Instead, it's Hanbury and Bird and O'Keefe. Reed got himself clear. Couldn't drag it down. Everett played his own footy and played it very well. And Bolton runs in, makes sure of it, and the Swans are getting closer.
Yeah, it was Jude Bolton who went on to Matthew Prentice at the start of this term, and he's just got himself forward. They've done a great job at just locking up the West Coast ruckman, the Swans ruckman, and they're going forward to the ball when they haven't got control, the Eagles. The Swans are hanging around till they've got control, and I like this from Everett. Smart play. I think a couple of Swans have been thinking goals rather than getting it to the best player involved.
He hasn't had a big day, Everett,
But that's why he maintains his spot,
Yep.
even if it is as the sub. He'll do the extra fitness work as required.
six
What he does do is
disposals.
well.
Yep.
He does it really well.
He's kicked a goal and played a big part in that last one, so he certainly contributed. Kerr to Rosa. They're on the advance, but it's all short stuff at the moment for West Coast. Johnson enjoys that. Big, strong fist to the ball. And this Sydney Swans side are a force to be reckoned with at the moment. They don't have any problems with playing here at Patterson Stadium. Haven't in the past, and they certainly haven't today. Jack, Kennedy. This is where they've cut them open so much with their handball today. And over the top to Jetta. Even he can't quite run onto that, at least not yet. Malcheski looks ahead. Reed out to take it. McKenzie.
Touch, ball, play on, touch.
Everyone shouting touch. You'd think they would have heard it, but they didn't. Bird got squashed by Hearn.
It was touch ball.
It was better to see Sam Reed, though, with his arms
Jukes out.
extended.
Yep.
Didn't get the ball, but he got it in front and
Don't
laid it
hold.
off.
Give the ruckman a go. Kieran, Scotty. Daniel, Matty. Go to footy.
Again, Mumford, he just wants to just grapple. Well, Pike it was this time.
Adam Goods for Reed, for Jetta. Not beyond the possibilities from there. Maybe he's getting a little bit too cute at the moment, Lewis Jetta. But anyway, we should just keep encouraging it. Out to half back.
Stay there.
Again, this is Kobe Stevens. 21 years of age, been frustrated by lack of opportunity. His 4th game for the year, 11th for his career. Lands on the wing. Jetta, instant with a handball. And again, keeping the Eagles guessing. The kick goes to half forward. It wanders through to Everett. But keeps his feet. It's a bit of a
Just let
hallmark
the ball
of
go.
what he's been able to do.
I think if you take possession and then you throw your hands in the air,
Footy, man. Thanks, Scotty.
you've got to be, well, that's a heavy landing.
Yes.
You've got to be held accountable.
Yeah, let it go. Just here. Play on.
Cox brings it down.
Play
Pritis,
on.
Selwood, Reed.
Play on. Still me.
Bolton, McGlynn stole the march. And only comes up with the behind.
The handball from Jude Bolton in that congestion then was very good. Knew that the pressure just wasn't on him, so held on to it enough for McGlynn to find space.
What about the double effort of Mike Pike? He goes into the ruck, and then he's the first one at ground level to apply the tackle. I think it was on Pritis. Very much a trait of both Sydney ruckmen.
Talked about their handball, Jono. There's an interesting stat on that in a moment. Come back to it because they're thrusting forward again. Kennedy, Reed, Kennedy hungering for another shot at goal. And he'll be well satisfied with the result. The Swans are just about there now.
Well, it was a handball through the middle of the ground, able to win the ball back from the West Coast Eagles again, and then just outnumbered them around the contest for most of the day. They've been able to wear the West Coast Eagles down. You see there the defenders push up to create the pressure. The midfielders are still there. And then Kennedy with a good long-range finish into the last quarter.
The Swans have had 6 more kicks than the Eagles, Jared and Jono, and 69 more handballs. They have really been able to pierce them with their tight ball use and their run.
Well, it is, and we mentioned them just getting so many numbers around the footy that they're able then to share it out and get it to the outside, where they've been better than West Coast today.
Don't block.
They've won the contested possession by 25
Knock it out.
and the uncontested by around about 50.
Holding the ball. Got to make an attempt. Play on.
Selwood, you can hear the strains of the songs from the Sydney fans that have made the trip, and there's probably 1,000 or so that are here.
Well, there's that handball release just to get Reece Shaw going. He hasn't been able to do it as often as he would have liked today, but still a contributor.
Everett. And they power on again, the Swans. Hanbury misses Everett, has to go back and clean up his own mess, and then gave another ordinary handball back to McVeigh. So not really helping his team's callers there for that passage, Hanbury, but he's been a good player as well.
Good use of the body there by Adam Goods. He's going to pull himself up with a free kick.
That whistle.
Oh, Mumford's just dislocated a finger and straight to the bench for a minor relocation. Oh, that feels better.
He's got it back.
Bay heaves it into the 50. Reed got there. Couldn't take it completely, but watch out because Jenner was there and the kick is not quite going to make it despite a little kick of its own late.
What do you reckon he should do there, John? Go for that sort of miracle kick or swing around and take them on with pace and come onto the right leg?
Oh, look, either or with his ability. No, I think he made the right decision on that occasion to take Selwood on, continue on his left side. We see here, that was the natural flow. Comes back, he puts himself under too much pressure.
I think umpire Robert Finlay needs to get a new whistle. He's looking to the bench, but I don't think they've got a spare one, boys.
No subs.
He's got a bad P, Jagger.
Play on. You got electrical tape, Daryl? Electrical tape. Play on, ran
Looking for some electrical tape to fix it up. High ball to half forward.
Well, it's been an interesting battle, and the honours today go with Craig Bird. Shannon Hearn just taking the mark.
Sorry, Jared, I knew they were making some cost cuts at the AFL, but I thought the budget might extend to a spare whistle.
Oh, no, the cuts have been deep.
Not sure if the CEO's here to allow them to extend the budget.
Been very good, Ted Richards, across half-back, particularly in the second half when the game was there to win. His just ability to intercept and take marks like that, much improved player of the competition.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jacko. He's become their #1 guy down back, and the combination with himself and Richards has been excellent all season.
Oh, lovely tumble from Kerr, but Goods had the last laugh, and they're ready to go again. Eagles are mainly goal side, but Everett stucks back under. Can't take the mark here, and he falls on top. The footy's somewhere in amongst it all. And a bit of a standoff for the umpire.
That's a good win. Hard ball get, then the turnover.
And then handed it straight back. Crowd of almost 40,000 here at Patterson Stadium have been kept quiet by this Swans team.
And by that bloke in particular.
Shaw to Bolton.
Ryan O'Keefe, he has just been an absolute star. 7 clearances. He's had the best part of 30 possessions, and the majority of them have been well and truly contested.
Both teams.
34 possessions, in fact. 18 contested possessions. Hasn't got himself on the goal sheet, but his work has led to many.
Jude Bolton has already on that goal sheet. Comes in to kick from 30, and he's done it as well. They lead by 45 points.
Well, Jude Bolton gets his 3rd goal for the game, 3 from himself, 3 from Lewis Jetta, a couple from Reed. So Bolton being a midfielder, able to push forward again. And that's the benefit that Sydney have got, is the fact that every week one of the midfielders will bob up and kick multiple goals, whether it's Karen Jack or whether it is Bolton or whether it's McVeigh. They've always got one that gets out of the loop and pushes forward to score.
Bolton's 3rd goal. And the margin now out to 45 points. Marston spreading it for Rosa.
Play on!
Deep. Nananui's coming. Smith. Shepherd. McVeigh.
Yours. That's all right. No. Players there.
And the Swans are the #1 defensive team in the competition, only conceding 70 points per game. The Eagles on 62. So even though the game is over, they're fighting it right to the end. Fantastic.
Look what they've produced from stoppages there,
9
Jono.
goals, 4, and then in front as well with turnovers with their defensive pressure. 7 goals, 7 today. So they've been good in both aspects of the game.
Yours.
The Sydney Swans.
Well, the Swans are getting a reputation as streak busters, because remember they stopped Geelong's run down there at what was then Skilled Stadium, and here after 18 wins in a row for the Eagles, they're doing it again at Patterson Stadium.
Well, it's full strength, Jared. Sorry, it's full strength versus depleted at the moment, with the depth being tested at the West Coast Eagles with the suspensions and the amount of injuries.
But that's an indicator to what happens if they meet again later on in the season. The issue that the Eagles have got right now, as they go forward and hit the post, is that they've tried and secure that top 2,
At least top 4.
top 4 position. And right now, with this loss, and then they face the Adelaide Crows in Adelaide next week, but that with this injury list that they've got, that becomes that really challenging task they've got at hand.
Malcheski bombing away for the wing.
Play on. Play on.
Clever again. They have just found their way through with a wonderful use by hands. O'Keefe in for Goods. Spinning move from Schofield was effective, and they can launch something here. Newman kicks it somewhere in between.
Holding the man, Sydney's free.
But even that kick there, the Eagles only had 2 options and 5 Sydney Swans players just peeling back. So just the lateral vision there was needed by the Eagles carrying the ball through the middle of the ground.
Well, Marston was coming through for a handball receive and was disappointed he didn't get used.
But it's not surprising, Jack. I mean, the forward line eventually had to break down, given there's so much talent has been missing from this forward line. And the midfielders are used to being able to just get the ball, and if in doubt, get it long. But now with limited height down there, it's a different setup.
Swift decides to try and kick to Stevens' advantage that time, but even that didn't quite work out the way he'd planned. And there's Brennan again taking the mark.
Fine.
Not the best of kicks, you have to say, for Cox and O'Keefe. Mumford, O'Keefe again. That's 36. Hanbury, he's got 36 as well. And he might get 37 here if he can run onto this footy. Mastered the bounce and then kicked it up to the wing. Goods. Kept on coming, Hanbury, for McLean. They're almost out of steam, but not quite yet. Bird, taste for another one. Reed is a long target. He might eventually get there. He does eventually get there. He was trying to do the team thing, but sometimes a bit of focus on the goal. There's nothing wrong with when you're a forward. Jono, is there?
No, of course not. Hutto, he called me out.
There's a West Coast
on that occasion.
next for Jono is busily writing down votes for best on the ground. But here's their challenge, Adelaide. Brisbane Lions, all of a sudden the Fremantle Dockers will give themselves a genuine chance. Just snapping at their heels, looking for a spot in the 8. And then, of course, Geelong, who knows what they're going to get against the Cats, whether they'll be up and about again or whether or not they'll be looking towards next year.
Shuey misses for another week, doesn't he? Lynch, I think he's back. They're going to lose Darling, you would suspect, as we look at Sydney's next month. Big game against the Saints. They went down to them last time.
Yeah, it is for St Kilda in particular. They need the points, but the Swans got belted by. That was, in fact, probably them and Richmond are the only 2 sides that have really given them a touch-up this year. Gold Coast should give that to Carlton. You'd probably give them that. And then Collingwood, well, that's going to be a cracking match as well.
Gaff, again, they just closed down the space for the Eagles.
But they have been the ultimate fly under the radar side all year, the Sydney Swans. I mean, they may finish in the top 2 themselves, be in the box seat to get home preliminary finals. The debate will be about whether or not it's as a big an advantage given that it's at ANZ Stadium, but nevertheless, they may have a side travelling from the west or from Victoria to play them.
Hanbury, career best 40 disposals.
Just goes under the radar, Hanbury. Just accumulates. Everyone focuses on Kieran Jack and O'Keefe, which have been dominant players today, but Hanbury has been outstanding as well.
Yeah, I don't think we can underestimate the role of Craig Bird as well. And there's a live ladder, the Sydney Swans on top with a really healthy percentage.
Don't hold.
And then Adelaide, who continue to keep challenging and present themselves. They also, I think, by the end of the year will win some doubting Thomases over.
Well, the Eagles slipped to 5th.
Well, next week, Collingwood Hawthorn, huge game for the Hawks with a massive percentage.
In fact, every side in the 8, I think, next week plays each other.
There's a big round of footy ahead, obviously, then. Butler's got the footy at the moment. Hanbury's had 12 disposals in the last quarter to help him to that total of 40. 3 goals for to 1-1. The Eagles haven't really been able to lay a blow almost since quarter time. Certainly in this second half, despite their efforts. Hampered by Darling, obviously. Marston's been one of the most potent in front of goal. That's his 3rd.
Well, that's his 3rd goal. He's also had the responsibility of Reece Shaw for most of today's play. McGinnity had the job early. Marston's then taken that responsibility with some midfield play as well. 15 disposals, 82% effective by foot and 3 goals. So it's been serviceable today for the West Coast Eagles.
So Marston's 3rd goal. Every side has a tipping point, don't they, in terms of personnel. Certainly against Essendon earlier in the year, the Eagles were undermanned with injury and I think a little bit of suspension that day as well. And they got fixed up by the Bombers. And the same thing's happened here this afternoon. They're back to within 39 now. Mumford for Reid. He's covered a lot of territory pushing up around the centre-half forward area today. He ducks back onto that and shows that he's more than just a mark and kick player. Reid puts it through. That's his 3rd.
And great delight from the amount of Swans fans that have travelled, and they've come in a fair few numbers, Jono.
Yeah, they've got good support, the Sydney Swans, over here in Western Australia as well. And the crowd, well, I think there'll be some just football lovers here today as well, on the back of how close and how good the rivalry is between these two sides.
Yeah, tickets were like getting them for the grand final. A lot of pressure from the Margaret River Mafia to produce a couple.
And there's 4 of the Swan supporters there, dressed up to the nines.
What an outing it's been for them in enemy territory to come up with a win like this. Marston, Gaff, who's caused some damage on the outside with 21 disposals.
Jude Bolton's had a belter of a last quarter.
He's kicked 3 goals in total.
2 goals and 6 disposals in this quarter for Jude Bolton.
And back to Gaff and then Prittis as they cool in, calmly link up along the wing, but again beaten to the punch. Galcheski is Swift. Kieran Jack with a bit of ice on the back of his neck by the look of that, or that's maybe just to cool them down because they both have it.
Touch, Paul.
Mumford.
Come on, don't hold, don't hold. Mark,
Mike Pike.
It's been a big day for the players from outside of normal recruiting circles for Sydney. Mike Pike and Kieran Jack both have had fantastic afternoons.
Big weekend with Carmichael Hunt.
Yes,
there.
Yep. Israel laid a big tackle today, Hutto.
And then he didn't have his Guernsey for a little while either. At least he showed everyone he'd been working hard. Swans continued to do that. Johnson in the mix. Kennedy, 17 for the year. And that one wanders away to the left.
Just on his roll, I reckon he would have taken great encouragement from the work of Carmichael Hunt, particularly just how quickly he can turn. He went into the ruck today and he looked pretty comfortable. So there's plenty of examples, not just Mike Pike, sorry, not just Carmichael Hunt, of blokes that take a few years, and Mike Pike, what's he, 4 or 5 years in the system now, and finally he's becoming a significant player.
Crowd enjoyed that big Shannon Hearn torpedo. Back from fullback.
West Coast, let him up. Let him up. No, guys, coming in, play on.
Butler angles the kick in short for Stevens. And then Gaff. And it's all go for the Eagles. Kerr. Swans have got some numbers back for safety. And they're getting more back as we speak. The longer it takes Newman to gather, the more reinforcements have arrived for the Sydney Swans. And the harder the task gets, you can see there it is. Cross half back, Matner. They're inside the last 2 minutes now.
Move it on, play on.
Hanbury had 41.
It's a big day.
Play on.
Jetta couldn't quite get it back to him again.
Play on.
Hanbury 41,
Thanks,
O'Keefe
Jude.
37, Jack 29, McVeigh 28, and Kennedy 26.
Sorry,
The
guys.
midfielders for the Sydney Swans.
The most impressive thing for me, though, Jono, today was just how well they grouped together defence and midfield to defend.
Play on.
And once they win that ball, they are like as if they've been watching any rugby union side. They just have a line of players, half a dozen handballs sideways, get the bloke free, and away they go.
It only works if you're willing to work, and that's what they are, the Sydney Swans, a high gut running team.
West Coast kicked the first 3 goals of the afternoon, and since then it's been 17 goals to 7. There's nothing John Worsfold can do about it now. Just has to try and regroup.
Move it on, Jude.
The troops get as many of his prime movers back into the side as he can, as quickly as he can. Reid, Kennedy, McGlynn.
Yours now.
Ambitious handball to Jetta. He's kicked 3. Now he has kicked 4. What a menace he is.
No, you just had to feel for Adam Selwood there, Jono. He hasn't got the pace to go with Lewis Jetta. The handball was only 1 metre wide enough for him to get that advantage, but that was enough. It was once again, it was Kennedy. McGlynn, smart handball, just enough over the top. In fact, he did close him down pretty well, Adam Selwood, so plenty of legs in the old man yet. He's done a good job getting back from a serious infection in his arm, weakened the waffle, and away he goes.
Well, there he is, 16 disposals, 4 goals 2 today for Lewis Jetta. Continues on, great goal-kicking form for the Sydney Swans.
36 goals for the season. I think Buddy's on 51. He's not far away. O'Keefe. He's going to get close to 40 as well. That's 39 for O'Keefe. Hanbury wants another.
2 metres, Scotty.
He's on
Back
41
2, Scotty,
disposals.
Scotty, back 2 metres, thanks, mate. Play on.
Kennedy pegged there in the arm, but umpire lets it roll.
He's run about 15 and a half.
Stevens.
3 against 2. It's just a snapshot of what we've seen all day.
And the siren sounds, and this Sydney Swans team are on top of the AFL ladder, and they deserve to be, after ending one of the great runs of consecutive victories for the West Coast. And the Swans winning here, despite giving up the first 3 goals of the afternoon. They've won by 52 points, and they are a genuine premiership threat, and it's time people realised it.
Well, the midfielders took total control today of this contest for the Sydney Swans. They outworked the West Coast Eagles. The ruckman, Mumford and Pike, were fantastic against Cox and Natanui. And the Sydney Swans were able to give their midfielders first use through the ruckman, but then also Shark, Natanui and Cox all day. And it was their run at both ends of the ground that set this game up, Jared.
Well, the other streak that has ended today was the closest of these contests. Let's go down to Glenn Jakovich with a bloke who's got a different way of playing footy.
Certainly have, Mike. Top of the table clash. The Eagles have won 18 consecutive games here. Big game. Is this the best win of the year for your team?
Yeah, it's massive for us to come over to WA and winning against a home team. That's huge, especially West Coast. They set the standard this year, and so we wanted to test ourselves against the best. I think we did that today.
Mike, tell us about the goal. You're playing against Darren Glass, the form fullback of the competition, and you kick a goal. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's a real privilege to be able to play against these guys. I mean, they're all Australians. It's great to be able to play against them, and I'm just trying to make a contrast and do my job down there, keep them deep, and try and get a couple of goals in the process.
We come to this ground, Nat Nui and Dean Cox, the best ruck combination in the competition. You and Shane Mumford. If you had halved the game, John Longmire would have been happy. But you took the points today. Yeah,
I think so. I think that was the goal coming in, was just to half it, get neutrals, and we seem to get on top a little bit. But I mean, they're great players, and I think Dean got away from us a bit in the third and a bit in the fourth as well. He's a class act, so he does what he does.
Your best game ever?
Maybe.
Well done, mate. Enjoy the win. Well done.
Thanks, mate.